A new document just landed. And you know, it's signaling a quiet but pretty massive pivot in American foreign policy. We're going to break down how Washington is starting to see its role in the world in a completely new light. So, this newly released White House national security document, it reveals a starkly different approach to global affairs. It really outlines a vision for America that's more limited, more focused, and frankly, a lot more transactional. Let's dive into how this new strategy is redefining America's key relationships. You see, this document lays out Washington's priorities for the next few years. And when you put it right next to the last strategy from 2017, wow, the changes are dramatic. This is especially obvious when we look at how it approaches key partners over in South Asia. Okay, let's start with India. Here we have a country whose strategic importance seems to have been seriously reevaluated. The tone, the substance, it's all shifted in a way that's just impossible to ignore. I mean, just look at the downgrade in the language here. Back in 2017, the US was welcoming India as a leading global power. Fast forward to now, and the focus is just on improving commercial and other relations. In the Quad, that key security dialogue between the US, India, Japan, and Australia, it only gets a single passing mention. It's a subtle change for sure, but a really powerful one. All right, now let's hop over to Pakistan, because if you thought the change with India was big, this is just as, if not more, significant. Because while the language on India cooled way down, the language on Pakistan, well, it just vanished. The 2017 strategy was incredibly explicit. It called out Pakistan for harboring terrorists, and it even warned that no partnership could survive that kind of behavior. But the 2025 document, it makes no critical mention of Pakistan at all. The source we're analyzing actually calls this silence on counterterrorism and nuclear security a glaring omission. So what's the big idea driving all these changes? What's the core philosophy here? Well, to really get that, we can turn to the analysis of Dr. Tara Kartha, who's a former director at India's National Security Council Secretariat. Dr. Kartha points out that while this document might lack some grand vision, it's brutally honest. It straight up says its top priority is the Western Hemisphere. She says it's basically a return to the Monroe Doctrine, that 19th century policy where the US pretty much told the world, hey, this hemisphere is our backyard, so stay out. So this whole new worldview really boils down to a few key ideas. First, realism, an admission that the US just can't be everywhere at once. Second, it's deeply transactional, basically telling allies they need to pony up for their own defense. And finally, it sees global competition not so much as a battle of ideas, but more as a fight for economic advantage in a world with a lot of competing powers. And if you really want to know where the document's true focus lies, just follow the numbers. China is mentioned 21 times. But even here, the framing is different. The threat isn't painted as some global Cold War-style rival. It's seen as a more contained economic and regional challenge. Let's really break this shift down. Alliances are moving from partnerships to pure transactions. You gotta pay your share. America's role in the world, it's shrinking from this unipolar leader to a power focused on its own hemisphere. And the main threat has been totally redefined. It's no longer about terrorism, it's about economic competition from China. Even foreign aid isn't a strategic tool anymore, it's just a cost to be cut. So, what does this all mean in practice? What are the real-world consequences of this pivot, both for America's friends and its rivals? The bottom line is this. The United States is signaling that it's just not going to be the world's policeman anymore. It's telling its partners from Europe all the way to Asia that they need to step up, increase their own defense spending, and take on way more responsibility for handling threats in their own backyards. And this whole shift leaves us with a really critical question. This isn't just some new document. It could be the start of a whole new chapter in global geopolitics, one where the old rules just don't apply. The real question is, how is the rest of the world going to adapt?